Tigers, and this is his first final appearance. The goaltenders tonight, Richard Brodeur. Here's one man who believes in the Canucks. He has been simply spectacular, a leading contender for the Conn Smythe Trophy. And at the other end, they say the best clutch goalie in the league today, Billy Smith. Trottье, Gilles, and Nystrom for the Islanders against Miner, Fraser, and Smeal. Up front for Vancouver, Hallward and Snaps on the defense. Potvin is back there with Morrow. And it's Potvin and Morrow coming out. Here's the first attack by the Islanders. Morrow dropped it over for Nystrom going in. He's forced to the boards by Hallward. Trottье threw a check in on the boards. Nystrom trying to dig it out for New York. Big Clark Gilles coming in. But the Canucks just shoot it out to center ice. Gilles hooked it back. That's Morrow again. A pass on an open wing slides down the ice. It's waved off. No icing. Hallward going back. Coming out for Vancouver on the right side. The Canucks on the move. It's cleared in by Miner wide of the net. And the Canucks are changing. So are the Islanders. And the Islanders bring it to center ice as Merrick comes in with Tonelli. Tonelli rolled it in front and hit Merrick. He didn't see it. And it bounced back to the net. Lars Lindgren couldn't clear it. It's cut in there by Pearson. Out to the line, and it's all the way down in the New York Islanders zone. Just by the first minute of the opening period of Stanley Cup Final 82. And it's Tonelli again for the Islanders. At the line, stop. Gradin coming back in. Gradin shot. And Billy Smith, let me tell you, had to be careful and get that hand out quickly. First stop of the game. And the Canucks are at it again. They score! Billy Smith snuggled, went down, and these Vancouver Canucks continue to surprise.
1 minute and 29 seconds into the first game of the final, and Vancouver, Mickey, with a 1-0 lead.
Boy, they're allowed to come right out in front of the net. Look at number 26 for Vancouver. Molin lugged the puck out in front of the net all by himself. There you see Gradin right beside Smith, grabbed the puck, and he banked in the rebound. Islanders really a little bit sloppy in their own zone. Do you believe the Canucks? Here they go again.
Great play by Molin coming out of the corner of the ring.
They announce it as Gradin from Lars Molin. 129, the Vancouver Canucks leading 1-0. Now the Islanders have to figure it out quickly. Langevin back there without a stick trying to clear it. That's Bill trying to keep it in. A long shot from the line was deflected as Bellick let her go from just inside the blue line. They hang on to it on the boards, and it's called.
As I mentioned, 129. Here's the play coming out of the corner. Merrick made the check, Mickey, and then Molin just...
Where's the defenseman? Merrick, what's he? He's a centerman way back in his own zone. The defenseman had vacated the area, and you saw Molin come out in front of the net, uncontested completely. And Merrick, I don't know what he was doing back there. He's supposed to be out in the middle of the ice, sort of covering the points roaming around, but if he hadn't been there, it may have been worse. Of course, can't be any worse than getting a goal scored against you. But that's a big goal for Vancouver to score in this hockey game, to come out here early, and they're going to make this man very happy at this point. Talked to Roger before the game. He said, I'm not too nervous. We're here. I suppose a lot of people didn't expect us to be. We're just going to play our game and see if we can continue playing well.
Now from the draw, inside the New York line, the Islanders. Trottье coming out to center with Bossi on the wing as Bourne going in. Bourne pulled down. The two players slide to the boards to the right of Brodeur. In back of the net. Bourne again. Left it for Trottье. He tried to knock it in front of the net and couldn't. And that defensive work of the Vancouver Canucks is paying off. They're clearing into the line, but not out. Janssen took a shot way wide and high off the glass. Cleared to the line. DeLorme coming out for Vancouver. They're changing as the play goes on. And the Islanders start right back. Janssen's pass to center finally gets to Bourne. And his shot wide of the net. On the other side is Williams. Williams couldn't clear it on Nystrom. Now the Canucks organize. Back to center. Going in, Molin with Miner on the right side. It didn't work. Howard backs up with Smith. Harold Snaps gives it back to Howard. Out to the line, and here they come. The Vancouver Canucks leading 1-0. Miner scooped it in, and the Canucks are changing every 30 seconds. Merrick starting out for New York with ball to center Janssen. And Tonelli. Tonelli had to slap it in, and the Canucks are checking well. Up near their own blue line. They're standing right up there on the Islanders. Here's Nystrom now looking for somebody free. That's not going to be easy to find, the way these Vancouver Canucks have been playing defensive hockey. There's Nystrom being bodied in on the boards. Gradin comes back to help out behind his own blue line and back of the net. There's Gradin taking a check from Tonelli. It comes in front of the net, and the Canucks all back there. Bring it out. It's Smeel. Long pass. In on the wing goes Gradin, who shot wide of the net. At the 4-minute mark of the period, the Canucks in again. And Billy Smith scooped it away. Vancouver 1. New York Islanders, the defending Stanley Cup champions. No score. And the Canucks dump it in. Snaps rushing off to the bench. Islanders trying to solve what has been happening now in the first 4.5 minutes of this hockey game. And here they come, led by Potvin, going in with Goring. Goring missed Tonelli's pass. Campbell back to the net for Vancouver, trying to clear it. And it's knocked down by Smeel, rolled in across the New York line. Potvin again, coming out. Gillie's on the left, didn't see the pass, it went by him. In behind the net, back there is Campbell, and icing is called against New York. From the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, this is Stanley Cup.
First penalty of the 1982 Stanley Cup final, called by referee Wally Harris, who now comes over to the Vancouver bench. We had some extracurricular pushing and shoving. Harold Snaps is off for holding at 10:51, and there he is in the penalty box. I think that Harold is the only Canuck left from the team that played the Islanders in 1976 when New York swept Vancouver in the 3-game best-of-3 preliminary round.
Well, we'll see a good test here by the Vancouver penalty killers. It's something that they thought they'd have to stay away from, giving the Islanders these power play chances. They've got a tremendous power play with Bossi, Trottье, big Gillese out there, jams up the front of the net, and they love to feed Persson and Potvin back at that point.
Miner and Molin are out there for Vancouver with Hallward and Lindgren. And you're right, Mickey, this is a big test now. On this Islander power play, Gillese with Bossi, Trottье. Potvin up the line. Here's Gillese shooting. Picked out. Rebound to Bossi. Got it in front. It comes back to Persson. He stops with it to Gillese. Gillese back to him. To Gillese again. Gillese shot. Nice save by Brodeur. Good angle. Brodeur out cutting the angle. And he made the save.
Well, people keep saying Mike Bossi hobbled in this playoff series because of a knee injury suffered in the last game of the regular season. But you see it, he leads his team with 10 playoff goals. It has not hobbled his ability to score, Mickey.
Well, it sure hasn't, Dick, as you look at the Islanders on this power play. Gillese with a shot and Brodeur doing his thing again. But Bossi doesn't look too hobbled to me in the times I've seen him.
Persson for Gillese. Shot. Away wide. It's stopped up the line by Potvin. Gives it to Bossi. Hopped over his stick. Lindgren going in after Trottье. Trottье has it. Takes a look out near the line where Potvin waits. He has it. The shot. Score! I'll tell you, fellas, that New York Islanders power play is dynamite with Big Gillese in front of the net.
That was what was the key, Mickey. Look at Gillese doing his thing.
I think he got a piece of this puck, Dick. We'll have to wait for the announcement on it by looking at his reaction after the goal. I think that Gillese got his sticker. Watch him now in behind Brodeur. He's right in behind him. Look at that. And I think he got that stick out in front of Brodeur and redirected it in behind him. But he's tough to move out in front of that net. 6'3", 215-pounder. And he can cause some problems.
He made a pretty good play, Mick, right off the start of the power play. When he went for the short side, he almost caught Brodeur on that one. So we got a tie hockey game. 11:35. Potvin and Trottье assisting Clark Gillese. It's 1-1.
Islanders now with a bit of life. They shoot it in again. Nystrom didn't get in there quickly enough, and the Canucks get it up to nil. Nil is at center, going in with Boldyrev. Boldyrev on the boards. They get a whistle for a face-off in the New York Islanders zone.
Well, there's big Clark, and we look at it again. Good shot here, Mick. Here you see him back of the net.
Good back of the net shot of it, Dick. And you know, the important thing here about Gillese, he started this play out originally about the fourth guy to make the starting pass, and he didn't stay off to the side. The important thing is he headed straight for the front of the net and ended up getting the goal.
So Gillese from Potvin Trottье at 11:35, while Snips was off for holding. 1-1. 7:55 left in the opening period, and here's Nystrom coming in. Nystrom gets set. Merrick is in front of the net. It comes all the way back to Morrow. He took his shot. That's grabbed by Rhoda. Rhoda coming out with Nil on the left side. Two of them go in. Nil got in front, but Nystrom is right back for New York. Nystrom coming to this left wing. Take the shot. Got it in front. Tonelli was knocked down in front of the net. And Snips fell on the puck, and the play is called for a face-off in the Vancouver zone. Live from the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, the Stanley. Play just underway, and it comes to Molin at the Vancouver line. Boldyrev near center, Nil and Rhoda up on the play. And the Vancouver Canucks have their power play. But they're having all kinds of trouble getting it organized. Galler couldn't stop that pass. 1-1 the score. 6 minutes left in the period. Long shot in wide. Langevin fired it on the boards down the ice. Galler racing back, but Boldyrev got back first for Vancouver. Boldyrev, Rhoda, Nil. Starting out with Molin. The pass missed him to center. Rolls it off the boards. Back there is Pearson. He lost the chance to clear it. The Canucks on the board. That's Nil trying to dig it out. Now the Islanders will move it along the left side, but not out. Kept it by Rhoda. Rhoda won it back to the net. Got it in front. A hit escape. The Islanders pick it up though, and they get it to center ice. Galler just shoots it in. 45 seconds left on this power play for Vancouver. The score tied at 1. Steele didn't get the pass. Potvin sending the Canucks back again. Back there, Eldebrink, he overskated it. Islanders doing a good job killing this penalty. They're standing right up there. That was Morrow. He gave it to Bourne. Bourne wheeling in. Stop. Kärroll missed a chance. Now back to center. Drop back. A long shot. Gradin got in front. Took a slap at him. Then he was knocked flying. At the line, Lindgren kept it in. Just barely. Took a shot. Smith blocked it. In the corner. Schmiel couldn't dig it out. And the Islanders get it to the line. Potvin rolled it to center. One man back for Kärroll. Kärroll going in. Gets set. Can't shoot it now. He was played perfectly all the way. Here's Gillese. The backhander just missed on the short side. Here's Bossi. Shot. Good. Mickey Redmond, you were a bit of a sharpshooter in your day, but really, have you ever seen anyone pick corners like Mike Bossi?
You didn't even know this goal was in the net, Dick. He was over to the far boards before he even realized the puck had gotten by Brodeur. But again, like the first Vancouver goal, all the Canucks got out of the road here. And they were too late getting to Bossi, and he had a perfect time to tee it up.
The board here is flashing what I'm sure viewers all across the country are saying right now. What a shot. Off the top of the post, his 11th of the playoff. It's 2-1 New York.
Brodeur screened on the play and didn't see the shot, but a perfect shot by Mike Bossi.
2-1 now. There's Bossi again. Going in. Low shot this time. Brodeur stopped it. Snaps from the corner. Clearing it out to center ice. 15:52, the time of that goal by Bossi. Gillese and Kärroll assisting. Miner slapped it off the boards. The Islanders, though, keep it in. A long drive. That didn't get too far. And snaps back to center ice. coming in. Delorme on the right side. Flipped the pass over there. Minor stopped, and now he carries on. Minor got it back in front of the net. And the backhander by Gradin was grabbed by Billy Smith. A big pile-up in the New York Islanders' net.
Mickey, having seen the 4 games the Islanders played against Quebec, just through the first 15 minutes of this one, there is the strong indication that the Islanders are in a lot tougher against this team.
No question about it, Dick. And guess who's in the middle of this pile? Tiger Williams, after letting the backhand go, went straight for Billy Smith.
I tell you, they're down 2-1, but I like the way the Canucks are playing this hockey game. They are a lot of intensity out there.
Watch Tiger go for the net. Watch Delorme standing there, and here comes Williams. Bangs into Trottье off. Look at the stick go flying up over top of Smith, and poor Smith, the goaltender, he's under the whole pileup. Here comes the Tiger. Look at him. Bingo. Hits his own player. Doesn't matter who's in the road. Ron Delorme took a pretty good beating from Williams on that play.
Well, the Tigers in the penalty box. So is Dave Langevin. Minor penalties to both teams.
Time of the penalties, 16:37.
16:37, the time of the penalties.
16:37.
Minor penalties. Williams, Langevin.
Look at 49-year-old Al Arbour behind that Islander bench, and he is a picture of, I think he illustrates his hockey club very, very well. Very controlled, Dick. Been there before. Never gets too excited. Just when the bell goes, we'll be there to play, and when it's over, we feel pretty confident that we're going to come out of here a winner.
There you see the part of the reason for Al Arbour's great work, the championship flags hanging up here. There's another part, too. A guy named Brian Trottье played center ice for him.
Got that right. Some feel the best player in hockey today, including Wayne Gretzky.
Jerry Minor against this man. Trottье on the draw. Vancouver with it. Lindgren at the blue line. Shot. Smith going down, made the save. Now into the corner. Cleared out by Lane to center. Trottьe tried to set up Bourne. Nearly did. Potvin bumping on the boards with Minor. Long shot by Lindgren. Cleared away. Campbell hooked it in behind the net as Minor trying to dig it out against Lane. And the Canucks were checking, paying off. They get it back near the line, but a roll to center, and Campbell has to come back. 1:25 left of the penalties. Score Islanders 2, Canucks 1. Potvin. A pass to Lane. At the line, he's stopped by Gradin. Gradin and Schmeel going in. And a penalty coming up against the New York Islanders.
Gord Lane gets the call.
Had a pretty good job by Gradin going in here. Gord Lane had him tied up, and all of a sudden Gradin sort of fell forward, started to spin the wheels right here. Look at him right here. He makes sure that Wally Harris is going to see it, but look where the stick is. Boy, he would be lucky with the mask on there. Gord Lane with that stick right up across the throat area. And Lane sending it out. There you see it. High sticking call.
Langevin in the box with Williams. They have 1:12 left to serve. Harris has given the high sticking penalty now to the Islanders number 24, Big Gord Lane.
Well, the 4-on-3 situation created here. A lot of skating room out there. And Vancouver with, as you mentioned, Dick, 1:12 still left in the 2 minor penalties to Langevin and Williams. A good opportunity to tie this hockey game up.
Gradin, Schmeel, they get the draw back near the line. From there, Molin gets set. Decides to pass it back to Gradin. Gradin to Molin. At the line, shot. Hit a leg in front. They score! It bounced in behind Billy Smith, and Gradin was there again to knock it in, and it's tied at 2.
Thomas Gradin has had a super first period, and he's tied the game right here.
Well, this is kind of a strange goal here. Look at this puck bounce off of an Islander in front of Billy Smith. It almost goes in there, but Gradin, who had come all the way around the back of the net, Johnny on the spot to pick up the rebound. There it is. Potvin blocks it with the knee. And there comes Gradin around the back of the net, just tips it in, a 2-2 hockey game.
Well, he has both Vancouver goals in this hockey game. It's tied 2-2. And Molin assisting along with Fraser. There he is, Thomas Gradin.
That's 13 from Molin.
17:40, the time of the goal. We have a new game. It's tied at 2. 2 minutes and 10 seconds left in the period now as the Islanders start out led by Merrick to center. Merrick going in against Snaps. Merrick gets set, took a shot, and it's just wide. It went off. Brodeur, another penalty coming up. Interference call.
That didn't take long. The Vancouver Canucks this time on the losing end of the penalties here with Bellin going into the box. And 37 seconds left now in the Williams-Langevin penalty. So the Islanders will have a 4-on-3 situation for 37 seconds.
Problem with some of the fans down near the penalty box.
There's the penalty right there, Dick. Bellin upsetting Tonelli going in for the net, in front of the net. And everybody here now in front of us is up.
Well, I'll tell you what's happened down there, Mickey and Dick. Williams was being harassed by some fans, and he turned to his left, and you know that water jug now, you just squeeze it. It's like a water pistol, and that's what Tiger did.
Give him a shot.
Yeah, a couple of shots.
You want to cool him off. Leave it a Tiger.
Well, Mick, we've had 4 goals in this period. Where's this low-scoring, tight checking game you and I were talking about all day?
You got it. We're always right. We say one thing, another happens.
Now Potvin to the line. Pearson back to Potvin. He lines himself up. Will he shoot it? No, not this time. It goes into Bossi. Maybe now. Potvin's shot is blocked in front of the net. They worked it around beautifully, but Lindgren was right there, and he made the save. Okay, David. 1:46 to be precise remaining in the period. And there's Brodeur clearing one to the corner. Bossi let it slide back to Pearson. Into the corner again. Bossi gets in position in the slot area. Trottье looks for him. Gets into Potvin. Potvin back to the line. Pearson into Bossi. It's a goal post. Scramble. Puck is loose. Brodeur down. And the Canucks come up with it and clear it down the ice. A shot off the goalpost. A lot of the fans felt it was in and out. Hit the post. Score is tied at 2 as Trottье comes to center. Beautiful work by Trottье. Bossi in the slot again. Back in front it comes, and the Canucks cover and clear it. A minute left. Gradin tied it from Molin and Fraser at 17:40. That's the way she stands now, with Gillie's failing to move it out. 45 seconds left in the period. Lindgren just shoots it up on the far side, sending the Islanders back. 38 seconds left in the Vancouver penalty. Coming in is Bossi again. Bossi lost a chance to set it up. Might get another, though. It bounced right down to him. Brodeur covering, knocked it into the corner, and that's nil. Gillie's after him. 23 seconds left in the period. Gradin trying to dig it out for Vancouver. They get a whistle for the face-off in the Canucks zone to the left.
Mike Bossi, a fraction of an inch or so away from his second goal of the night, hit the post dead on. But Mickey Brodeur was beaten on the play.
Well, you could hear the rap of it all the way up here in the booth, Dick, but unlike the one that he did score on a moment ago, Bossi had this one labeled all the way. He knew where it was going. Look at this thing. It gets pinned around there like a pinball machine. Trottье taking a whack at it. Gillies with a whack at it. And Vancouver finally covered up and got it out of harm's way. But look at this. Bossi, bingo. Does he ever let that thing go?
Well, the red light did not go on. The referee had an excellent angle. Harris was right at the line. There's no doubt about it. It was not in the net. No argument from the Islanders.
Goal judges saw Saul Maslow, the offensive officials from the New York Rangers. 19 seconds left in the period. And on the power play, Pearson to Potvin. Potvin shot. And Brodeur stopped it, and watch out now. The Canucks are in there covering around the goaltender. They felt maybe somebody got a little too close to Brodeur when he had made the save.
The last few minutes of this game, there have been a few shots, cheap and otherwise, taken. Mick, when the whistles have gone, the checks have been made. Everybody wants to get in the last one.
Well, Dick, I think I agree with you, what you said earlier. I think that this is going to be a very tough series. I don't underestimate the Vancouver Canucks at all. They're going to play the body a lot. I think they're going to frustrate the Islanders. On this play, Sutter took a little whack at Brodeur after he'd covered it up, and the Canucks right to his aid immediately. And here's a look at it. You see he's already got it covered up, and Sutter jams a stick in here. There's the little chippiness that you're talking about. It's going to be a long series, I think, between these two.
Only 12 seconds left of the period. That's Goring getting it back. Potvin shot. Score! 9 seconds left in the period. And Potvin blasted the shot. It was deflected in front of the net. I think it hit something, went up high.
Well, again, we'll have to wait and see on the replay. We may be able to tell here. Right there. It's hard to tell. It may be John Tonelli standing in front of Richard Brodeur. He had his back turned to Potvin, and I think it went right off the seat of his pants, Dick.
Potvin gets credit for the goal. Tell you, if it hit his stick, it was over the shoulder. I think it went right in, Mick. Right up into the top corner.
On the announcement, it looked to me like it may have deflected off of the pants of John Tonelli, but we'll wait and see on the announcement. Nevertheless, a bad goal for the Canucks to give up.
They give it up, Potvin. And Goring on the draw, of course, got the assist. 1951, the time of the goal. And the horn goes to end the first period. And a big, big goal for the New York Islanders.
Well, here's another look at it, Dick. See if we can tell from here.
I think it went
really hard to tell. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see if they change it or not. Pretty obvious it'll be Potvin.
And the shots were even at 12. So the score at the end of the first period, the New York Islanders 3 and the Vancouver Canucks 2. For the second period, here in the Nassau Coliseum, Long Island, New York, Islanders 3, Canucks 2. From the draw, Lane gets it back inside his own line. Potvin works his way to center ice. Backhands one in. It's in the corner back of the net now. Bourne went after it. Bossi couldn't stop it. Lane took a shot. That was blocked by Gradin. Steele couldn't come up with it. The Islanders in their own zone. Knocked in front of the net. Lane near the line stopped it. Couldn't get a shot, and here come the Canucks. The pass. Down to center. The long shot by Steele was wide. And it's back to Lindgren. Lindgren ahead. Gradin has to go back again. Circling at his own line. Nice pass for Williams. In with Smeal. A rising shot by Williams is off the glass. Lane trying to dig it out for the New York Islanders. Bossi bumped on the boards. But here's Bourne coming down. Bourne gets set. Tried to go in around the defense and couldn't. Lindgren had him taped all the way. Carried him in on the boards. They fall to the ice. And the referee, Wally Harris, calls the play at 1:04 of this second period.
Well, there's Tiger Williams. You see his regular season penalty statistics, and along the way, he became the most penalized player in the history of the National Hockey League. He picked up a minor penalty in the first period here tonight. He has served 104 minutes in this playoff year through 13 games plus 1 period.
It's 3-2, the New York Islanders. Merrick, Tonelli, and Nystrom. Molin, Miner, and Fraser. Dump to the line, Langevin shot. Didn't miss by much. Brodeur had to watch it carefully. Nystrom comes back in his own zone. He nearly had it knocked away by Molin. Now to center is Merrick. Nystrom going in the slot area. Nystrom in front! And Brodeur got down on the 2 knees and gave Nystrom no room. Back for Vancouver. And the Islanders tugging along now. That was Tonelli getting back. Nystrom on the right wing side. Comes to center. Lobbed it in for Tonelli. Tonelli is being chopped. Knocked back of the net by Molin. Again, Tonelli looks for some room. Can't find it. Molin staying with him. Now Molin falls. It's centered. Off the boards to the line. Langevin failed to keep it in. He knocked it back in. And they call it on the offside.
21-year-old Anders Elderbreak, a rookie from Sweden, former national team player there. Penalized for holding. Watch the play. Goring with the puck, but Gillese is the one who Elderbreak fouls in front of the net.
And watch Brodeur again. He gets nailed again by Gilles and Elderbrink right there, and he goes flying back into that goalpost. Nicky's going to be wondering what's going on here tonight. It's two pretty heavy checks on Brodeur right in a row, Bob.
And the Islanders again with a man advantage. Mickey, hot pass, stopped it up the line. He and Pearson. There's Pearson at center ice. Bourne, number 14. Trottье coming in with Bourne. Bourne slapped it to the corner. Bossi is out there also. At the line, Pearson shooting. Rebound. And it's knocked back in the net. Trottьe center and score. Potvin just cruising in from the blue line. He waited. Made his move at the right time. And now it's 4-2 New York.
That's the third.
Dick, earlier you talked about the Islanders and the sitting back and waiting and doing what they do best. Good example of it here. Trottьe just taking his time. He knows Potvin. He jumped into the hole in the slot area. Trottьe very carefully just took it back there, didn't rush it. Pretty little feathery pass out to Potvin and big 0-4-2 hockey game.
Well, another power play goal for the Islanders. Mickey, there isn't a defenseman who plays that as well as Potvin. His sense of timing, he waits, he sees the opening. Of course, when you get players who have been together as long as these two. Here it is again. Look at Trottьe, knocked off the puck almost.
He could have almost came around and jammed that in himself, but he spotted Potvin breaking into the hole and put it right on his stick.
3:15, the time of the goal. Trottьe and Pearson got assists. Elderbrink was off for holding at the time. Now then, Lane for New York. Lob pass on the boards to center, stopped by Lindgren. And he gave it away, and this is Potvin again, circling back. With Lane behind him. Potvin fired it in by Bossi, the goaltender. Brodeur has to play it, but no icing. Campbell trying to clear it out. He does. Lane is covering over there on Gradin. Gradin and Lane go to the boards in the corner. Lane fell. Gradin has it. He was knocked out. And a penalty coming up against the New York Islanders as Gradin was upended. This is Hockey Night in Canada from the net.
The Islanders lead the game 4-2. The infraction occurring in back behind the New York goal to our left, right here. He goes down. Whoops.
It's Gradin. He tripped. And Gradin tripped Trottьe. I thought they were both going for a minute.
How many tripping penalties you see called when he trips him with his hand? Not too many in this sport.
Anything you can get.
The Vancouver power play. Gradin comes to center. Molin up the line with Bellin. Smeal. Molin, and his pass is outside the line. Now Smeal lost it. Trottье with Goring. They shoot it down the ice. Mickey, that New York Islanders power play is dynamite. Let's see how the Canucks make out now. To center ice, they have the man advantage. Smeal coming in, flipped it in front, and Kэрrolll, good skater. Kэрrolll comes to center. To Goring, he tipped it near the Vancouver line. Molin couldn't stop Kэрrolll. Kэрrolll going into the corner. He was bumped back there by Bellin. Gradin going back to help. And the Canucks organizing with 1:10 left. In the penalty, they're in over the line. The long shot blocked by Langevin. He can't clear it now. He kind of booted out. And the Canucks dumping in front. Score! A harmless looking shot by Smeal. And it just went along the ice on the stick side of Billy Smith. And it's another power play goal in this game.
Well, the Islanders not only upset at the goal, Dick, but again, one of the Canucks taking a pretty good run at Billy Smith. He just barreled right over top of him after the goal went in. The Canucks here now on the replay with control behind the net. Watch Smith. There's the shot coming from Smeal over there, and it's Gradin, I think, that piles right over top of Billy Smith. And both these goaltenders taking pretty much of a beating here in the first couple of periods.
A tough night on the fellas between the pipes, I'll tell you.
Oh, there's a look at it, Dick, where, see, Potvin takes a pretty good run at Gradin, so that was not intentional at all. So they really haven't got much to argue about there. He was knocked into Billy Smith, but nevertheless, Smeal with the goal underneath Billy Smith moments earlier, a 4-3 hockey game.
Well, we've had 7 goals in this hockey game, and 5 have been scored on power play.
Time of the goal was 5:06.
5:06, the time of the goal. So it's 4-3. The Canucks within one again of the New York Islanders. Coming out is Merrick. He's bumped hard by Snaps as he tried to go around the big fella. Snaps. The big defenseman lugged it across the line and lost control of it. That's Tonelli with it for New York. Nystrom chopped it in. Snaps is back here again. He's been a standout in the playoffs for the Vancouver Canucks. That's Nystrom battling his way in the corner. Puck comes loose and the Canucks shoot it to center ice. Nystrom was back to break it up. Nystrom lost it against Minor. Canucks shoot it in. So near the 6-minute mark of the second period. And this is Bobby Nystrom. He cleared it by Merrick down the ice. It'll be called for icing as Hallward goes back. And it'll come back to the New York zone. Spiel is in from Gradin and Fraser at 5:06.
Well, there is the veteran in the Canuck lineup from the standpoint of point of service with Vancouver, Harold Snaps, 8th season. Now here we get some of the rough stuff with a close-up look. Now we've got something going on here. Billy Smith.
Billy Smith really giving it to Wally Harris at the side of his net there. There's a look at Billy. He's a little cooler right now, but he was never known for his calmness in the hockey game. Dick, you mentioned at the top, he gave Wally Harris a pretty good piece of his mind just a moment ago, but all the rough stuff going around in his crease area.
Bolderab, number 9 at center, nailed to the left side. They're out of position. They'll have to do it again. Darcy Rhoda also on there for Vancouver. Bolderab with the draw. Nell gets it back. A long shot by Lindgren is wide. Elderbrink tried to keep it in. It bounced over the boards near the Vancouver bench.
Took a big goal for the Canucks to score. They were down by 2. This crowd, you could almost feel when the Islanders scored their 4th goal, the crowd thought, finally we're up by a couple of goals. It looks like we're going to run away with this thing. This is what we thought we'd be and where we should be here in this hockey game. But bingo, the Canucks are right back and a fresh start again, just trailing by the 1.
Don Cherry mentioning how he read where the Islanders said some of them were bored by the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. Surely not.
They'll be pretty bored if they drop a hockey game here at the Nassau Coliseum, I'll tell you. They'll wake up awful fast.
That's Callard jumping it down the ice for New York. Lindgren at his own line. Long pass ahead. Canucks go outside. That was Dill. He tried to straddle the line, but was just in.
See the line changes. Roger Nielsen had them coming and going over the boards there. About 1 second after the puck was dropped, they all headed over. Here they come again.
Used to refer to it, Dick, when we were playing as getting the hook. Well, I'll tell you that hook is out there all the time. 20, 30-second line shifts. Sometimes not even that. It's unbelievable. I tell you, in a situation like that, you've really got to be alert on the bench. That's the one thing. Well-coached hockey team, disciplined, and alert to go out there. Even if it come off 10 seconds ago, be ready to go right back.
Not to mention our job up here. Talk to Roger after this one. But it's working very well for the Vancouver Canucks. So it's 4-3 now. Islanders and the Canucks trying to get something going, but Sutter gets as far as center. Shoots it in. That's Elderbrink back there. He lost it. Islanders forechecking in front to center. He was covered right away. And it's knocked down at the blue line. Then to center ice. Rhoda got rid of it. Long shot by Neal off the board. Billy Smith cleared it into the corner himself. Up back there. And Kэрrolll, he was bumped. Now Sutter gets it ahead. Kэрroll's pass on the left side. They come in. Keller's shot. That was blocked up the defense. Rhoda coming out. He's on the right side as Bolderab carries in. Bolderab shooting right in front of the net. And down goes Smith. And he made the save. Nearing the 8-minute mark of the second period. It's 4-3 New York. This is Potvin again. A real strong game thus far for Potvin. That's no surprise. But he's been playing super hockey. With the score, the New York Islanders 4 and the Canucks 3. This is Stanley Cup 80. I'm Bob Cole with Mickey Redmond and Dick Irvin at the Nassau Coliseum, Long Island, New York. Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. It's 4-3 New York. And here come the Canucks with Gradin stopped just inside the Islanders line for Merrick. Merrick in with a shot, deflected off his stick, but Tonelli is right in on the play. Tonelli dumped it to the side. Merrick taking a look, got it in the crease area. Roder fell on it.
The European influence is making itself felt here tonight, gentlemen. We have 5 Swedish players in the game. They've accounted for a total of 6 points so far.
Dick, it's interesting. First time tonight, I think we've seen 2 lines complete out there. Merrick, Tonelli, and Nystrom, who usually play together for Long Island. And Gradin, Fraser, and Smeel for the Canucks. This may be the first and only time we'll see it all night long. 2 complete lines out there.
Vancouver trying to clear to get it out. Nystrom is back. Dumped it to Pearson. Didn't work. That's Smeel trying to find some room on the boards. They're offside as they cross the line. And they come up pushing and shoving. There's one wild swing.
Look at that.
Landed.
It's quite a combination at close quarters. Harold Sneps and Bob Nystrom.
Couple of tough guys, Dick.
There's some fun on the board. Bob Nystrom has 4 Stanley Cup overtime goals. He's second to Rocket Richard with 6, and Mickey came so close to getting number 5 last Saturday night in Quebec. He had the chance on the same play Merrick scored. Here's how this all began. Waltz me around again, Willie.
There you go. Tonelli been a tower of strength for the Islanders tonight. A great skater out there. He's had a super year for Al Arbor, and well, he just never stopped skating out there. He's got a tremendous set of legs. He's a good, tough hockey player up and down that wing.
That was a good line. Those 2 games in Quebec, that Merrick line, I thought, was the most consistent for the Islanders over the 2 nights.
Gradin with Fraser. They get the draw, but then lose it quickly, and Bossi is away. Coming in with Bourne. Sneps, ever present back inside the Vancouver line. Took Bossi in on the boards. Here's Bourne going back there, but Belland hangs on to it. Puck is still playable, still loose. Referee standing right there, allows the play to continue. Belland doing a pretty good job. He got it cleared for Smeel. Smeel coming out. Steps up on this play with Gradin. Gradin tried to go in and was stopped. Now the Canucks shoot it in. They're called to the offside as Gradin was going off at the bench.
Well, there's number 14, Bob Bourne, who has 8 playoff goals. One of them, as you see, short-handed. Had a contract problem at the start of the year. Did not play with Team Canada, or at least go to their training camp because of it. Had a series of slumps during the year that cut his production somewhat. But he's skating in fairly old-time style here in the playoffs. And hello to you, too. I'll tell you, the organist is in great form, Bob.
Another winner. Minor with Molin and Williams for the Vancouver Canucks. Islanders lead by 1. Sutter missed knocking down that pass by an eyelash. He was in behind everybody. There's Gillese in the corner. Gillese dropped it behind the net for Sutter. Dwayne Sutter couldn't clear it. Now comes in front. And Williams got back there as Goring was knocked to the ice. And the Canucks are away. Bolderev. He's coming in. Bolderev, great play. Scores! Bolderev. Every so often you see this wizard with the stick handling. And he went right through. And you saw it. It was a beautiful effort. It's tied.
Ivan Bolderev with his 7th playoff goal. And Mickey, what a tremendous individual play. Look at this.
Unbelievable. Bolderev doing it all alone. You know why, Dick? His other line mates were trying to change again. They were at the bench. They just barely stayed onside as Bolderev broke over the blue line. Split between Potvin and Gordy Lane, and did he pick the top corner? Smith out, went down early, a new hockey game again, 4-4.
Number 9, Ivan Bolderev. The assist to number 22, Michael Williams. Time of the goal, 9:27.
9:27. It's tied at 4, and the Canucks are in for it again. But now, the Islanders clear through the 2 defensemen to the center ice area. Gillese went off stride, but puck bounds away. In with Gillese. It's slapped back near center by Bolderev. And the Canucks shoot it in across the New York line. Lane is back there. Lane bumped by Rhoda. Lane comes up with the puck. Trying to clear it out. Gets across the line to center. He's in on the left side with Bourne centering it. It comes all the way back to Lane on this right wing. Now back for Bolderov. The play is called, and they've got a fight going now. That's Sutter. Might be another one going.
Sutter and Campbell, Bob, the original two combatants, got away from it. Jim Nill and Gordy Lane, who had rushed in to pinch in on his blue line position. Two linesmen in immediately to get these two broken up. Colin Campbell on top of Dwayne Sutter.
If you're scoring for the knockdowns at the bell or whatever, Campbell the clear winner in that confrontation. It took place well behind the play.
Well, you know, Dick, again, Sutter went straight for the front of that net, and Campbell was right there to intercept him. Look at, they're going to go at it again. Bourne this time.
And Campbell gets it
again. Bobby Bourne.
This is going to be interesting now to see what the call is on this. Two guys have fought with Campbell. They should, by all purposes, get 5-minute majors each. Bourne, Sutter. Well, here goes another fight. Rhoda and Sutter. It's the second fight.
And Rhoda is really driving that left hand in.
Well, somebody better hold on there. There's no linesmen around to break them up. They're all with the other two, Campbell and Bourne.
Well, keeping track of the numbers, you have Campbell and Sutter now in 2 fights and singles for...
Looks like a tag team out there.
Rhoda and Bourne. 1 fight each, the other 2 with a couple. So, battle-scarred veteran Colin Campbell.
Well, you could see it coming, Dick. You talked about it earlier in the first period that there's a lot of chippiness going on out there, and I think we're going to see more of this before this series is over.
So Rhoda got 5 and 10, Smeal 5 and 10, Fraser attempt of misconduct, Nystrom 5 and 10. A shot by Gillese, ripped it, and just wide. Score tied at 4 and 2.5 minutes left in the second period. Williams shooting it in for Vancouver. The Canucks changing again now as Goring starts out for New York. Played it in off the boards. Brodeur out of the net. Flipped it up on the boards. Center kept it in. But right there is Gradin. Cleared it away for Hallward. He got as far as the line. And the Canucks carry on. To center ice and across the line. Hill was knocked flying. Back for Trottье. Bossi is trailing. Bossi gets in front. Gillese had the pass go behind him. Pearson got back. Trottьe again. There goes Keller. He centered it. It's just too hot to handle for Bossi. Went off his skate. Now Bossi took a shot. And that's cleared into the corner. The Canucks. Howard going over with Gradin. They hold it on the boards. It comes loose. DeLorme trying to move it out. DeLorme to Snaps. 1.5 minutes left of the period. Good move by Snaps. In front of the net, Gradin. And a low backhander, a weak one. Billy Smith is up quickly this time. And Snaps is in the middle of it all.
Is all this really necessary after every whistle? Ron DeLorme out there, I think possibly for the first time. Notice how Don Cherry sneaked the mention of Ron in. Played with poor Don in Colorado a couple of seasons ago. But with all the players now sitting out there misconducts, these coaches have got to go all the way down the bench.
I'm surprised, Dick, at this point that Smith has not been a little more excitable in that Islander net. He's taken a pretty good beating for these Canucks, and we really haven't seen the old Billy Smith. Sorry, Dick.
Stan Smeal, that's the Vancouver dressing room as we eavesdrop and peek in on all these players who have been dispatched to the rooms by the officials.
You know, we're used to seeing Smith use that big goal stick, Dick, and I'm sort of just waiting here to see when he's just going to get to his breaking point and get into action. He's given it to Wally Harris verbally, but physically not done too much yet. I think the Canucks have gotten to him pretty well.
Nick, I hope you have to wait till the end of the game.
And then you and me both.
Eldenbrink from the blue line. That is shot blocked. Pass in behind. Brent Sutter. He stopped. Eldenbrink going back to the net for Vancouver. Bolderov skates to the right side. Eldenbrink comes the other way with it. 1 minute now left in this second period. It's tied at 4. in for the Islanders, Tonelli. Offside is called. Looks like one of the linesmen, Bob Hodges, took a spill near the Vancouver blue line, and now Hodges working in his first Stanley Cup final game. 10 years of service. He's shaken up.
It looked like
John D'Amico will be, of course, ready to go into action if he has to. He's a backup linesman here tonight.
Here's what happened, Bob. It looked like Wally Harris trying to get out of the way of a play. He got tripped right there, and look at the skate come up. It caught him on the right arm, the skate of Wally Harris. Harris looking at the play, making sure he was out of the way, and didn't see the errant stick that was laying there, and it tripped him up, and his right skate come up and caught Bob Hodges, although he looks like he's okay, thank goodness, and able to continue.
Talk about an unusual happening. Official hurting official. We've seen referees get hit by the pucks and run into by the players, of course, many times, but I don't think I've ever seen something like this happen. Now watch Wally Harris's skate. He loses balance, whoop, bingo, right on the right side or upper arm of Bob Hodges, but he's back.
Been off skates for a little while. He told me this morning. I met him in the shorts and the running outfit. He had done 7 or 8 miles by that time. Mickey, you was jogging this morning to get in shape like
Not
that?
me. I haven't get out of bed yet.
John D'Amico and Ron Wicks are here, I believe, could serve as backup officials.
Back for Morrill with only 45 seconds left in the period. Merrick over there, the center. Hit it up across the line, and Williams backhands into center ice again. 34 seconds left in the period. That's Potvin trying to set it up. Snaps now is back in there. Sutter chasing him. Brent Sutter snaps in on the boards. That's Tonelli trying to knock it in front. 20 seconds left in the period. The Islanders with a blitz on. Snaps over there trying to cover up. Roger had a notion to step in behind the net. Got back in a hurry. And the Canucks get into center with 8 seconds left in the period. Sutter back in, but offside this time. And with only 6 seconds to play, they'll have a face-off just outside the Vancouver blue line.
That was a young man who made his presence felt very early in this hockey game, Lars Molin, who set up Thomas Gradin for the opening goal of this final round. Back at the 1:29 mark of the first period. Seems like quite a while ago. It was quite a while ago. Bob Nystrom was cut. 3 stitches needed to close the gash that you saw as a result of that fight with Smeal.
They drop it in, Williams and Goring. The face-off spot. It's cleared down the ice, just wide of the net as the horn goes to end the second period.
Shots on goal in the second period. Vancouver 9.
And the shots on goal in the second period. Vancouver out shooting the Islanders 9-6. And the score at the end of the second period, the Islanders 4 and the Vancouver Canucks.
It's a big opportunity for Canucks to, if they could win this period of hockey, what an advantage that would be throughout the rest of this series.
Allward and Snaps on the Vancouver defense as we start the third period. Allward forced back by Goring. Here comes Big Gilles. Gilles trying to get it loose, but they hold it on the boards, and the fans love the way the Islanders have come out charged up for this third period.
Well, if they are so much better than the Canucks, as all of the so-called experts have been saying they are, 4 straight, 5, whatever, now's the time they've got to show it. They just can't drift through this first hockey game. They can't let the Canucks get that edge you just spoke of, Mickey Redmond.
It's interesting right now, Dick. Wally Harris holding up Roger Nielsen is not allowed to make another line change. And Al Arbour has thrown out Trottье, Kэрrolll, and Bossi. Williams still on the ice, so Arbour evidently doesn't care if Bossi's against Williams out there.
Boldyrev is into the face-off circle against Trottье. Got the draw, and Snaps hustling back for it for Vancouver. Got it past the Boldyrev. It's off his stick over the boards at the Vancouver bench.
Well, there is Denny Potvin, who did not have a scoring point through the first 6 games that the Islanders played in the playoffs this year, but then came to light. He has a goal here tonight and has 13 scoring points in his last 9 playoff games.
And now Molin and Miner come out. along with Dave Williams of Vancouver.
Here we go again, Bob. The Islanders with that last change, being that they're on their home ice, they have that advantage. And Nielsen made some changes, and Arbor counteracts with some changes of his own.
Merrick at center with Tonelli on the left side. And Brent Sutter in the right wing. Down goes Brodeur, covering up and hanging on to it. And the Canucks, Mickey, seem to be the type of hockey players now that they're willing to sit back and wait, cover their checks in their own zone, and get those face-offs if they can. Wait till they get a chance to move out.
You betcha. They're on the road. They don't have to put on a show. They're here to get that first game of the series, and they don't care how they do it. You're going to see them dumping that puck out, playing it very safe, as safe as they can here against the Islanders, and hope to pick up something at the other end and go ahead in this hockey game.
Snaps moved it up on the right wing boards. Langevin kept it in, though. They'll get another whistle and another face-off in the Vancouver zone. But as you say, Mickey, they're all back, well positioned. Nobody moving out of his spot.
You know, it's early in the series to talk about important games, I guess, Dick, or important face-offs or what have you, but I heard the conversation about how important that game the Islanders was against Quebec in Game 3. They won the overtime, and of course, if Quebec wins that, they come back. It's a complete nuisance for them to come back 2-1, but here's the third period of hockey with the Canucks 4-4 with the Islanders, and boy, if they can bear down here and hang in this third period, somehow come out of here with a victory, what an advantage that would be, as I said before.
And a lot of red faces walking away from Media Row.
Lindgren and Eldebrink on the Vancouver defense as Langevin has to go back. Nill went up looking for it. There's Jim Nill. He missed that pass. Tonelli. The Islanders gets it up on the right side for Tratche. Going in. He has to stop quickly. Back for Bossi. Bossi in against Eldebrink. It's cleared along the boards, but not out. Now the Canucks get it out across the line. Eldebrink to center ice and went by. And down over that red line. No icing. Play goes right on. They played a minute and a half of the period. There's Bossi over skating it. Tipped away by Lindgren. Got it ahead for Miner. He couldn't hang on to it. And Billy Smith tipped it up on the boards for Tratche. He's back. Got it over on the other side. Langevin will bring it out now. He played it on the left wing boards to center ice. It slides back into the Vancouver zone. Eldebrink didn't see Tratche come in. Tratche hooked it over behind the net. Now chases it against Lindgren. And Morrow missed that one and went down the ice. Going back is Potvin. This is icing called against Vancouver. From the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, this is Stanley Cup 82. All right, Mickey Rebba, there's the time remaining, 9:16. Vancouver will not change their style now.
There's no question about it, Bob. They're very happy, I'm sure, with the way things are going. They'd rather be ahead, but they're in the Islanders building, and they're just hoping to hang on here, get something of their own here, but to mainly keep those Islanders off the board.
They're all back there covering up again. That's Molin clearing it up to center ice. There's Molin, tried a shot high. Into the corner, Janssen to Bourne. Islanders organizing, Bourne coming down to center. Had it knocked away by Molin, who got back there. And the Canucks shoot it down the ice again. Janssen back of the net. Icing called against Vancouver.
Well, continuing our census taking in the penalty box. Only two remain down there now. Stan Spiel and Bob Nystrom sitting out the 15 minutes they picked up at the 17:20 mark of the second period.
Dick, I don't think that I've ever seen a hockey team play a game as well disciplined as the Vancouver Canucks have played here tonight. I mean, they just haven't missed a beat. They're right there. We'll look at some of the action again. Tratche, Williams hanging on to him very closely.
And the lens got wet in the camera.
But they have just been perfect to the tee on playing the type of game they come in here to play. Right on the Islanders every time they move.
8:49 remaining in the third period. Goring with Keller and Gilley. Langevin and Pearson. That's Gilley. That's Langevin. Shot deflected, and Brodeur covering again. Hangs on to it. 8:45 remaining.
Two games played here during the regular season. Dave pointed out at the top of the broadcast, the Islanders were 4-1 winners. Vancouver won the game in Vancouver 4-3. Interestingly enough, in those 3 games, not one power play goal scored by either team. Tonight we've had 5 so far.
The Islanders Goring comes into that big circle. Against Gradin. Goring got it back to Gilles. Gilles closing in. Gilles centered it. It hit the side of the net. Gilles again. Centered it. And it bounced on a stick and comes to the right side where Nill cleared it out to center ice to Fraser. He was stopped. Now Goring hustles back. Butch Goring. He'll try to get it going. And he has now, I believe. Goring shot. That was blocked in front of the net by Campbell, who fell in front of it. Fraser tipping it out. 3 Canucks come to center. That's Nill and Fraser going in. And a shot deflects off the stick of Langevin up over the glass into the crowd. 8:10 remaining in regulation time.
There's Richard Brodeur going for his little stroll every time the whistle goes. For a little skate down the corner, keep loose, one side, then the other.
I don't know of any goaltender I've ever seen who does that as often as he does in a hockey game.
Remember how Gradin used to stand with the stick, his chin on the gloves of the stick, and that was his trademark. And now Brodeur, a little mark of his own, he's just keeping loose down there, but Billy Smith right now that should be keeping loose. The Vancouver team really has not had many opportunities here in the third period. It's the first time we've seen him over the Islanders line in a few minutes.
Boulderab with Rhoda and Molin for Vancouver. But the Islanders, Mary coming in with Tonelli. Sliced off the boards. Tonelli battling for it. Trying to knock it back to the line where Langevin is waiting. Merrick loses his stick to Lindgren. The fans thought maybe the Vancouver player grabbed it away from the New York Islander. Tonelli missed it at center. Boulderab moved in. Boulderab gets set. Took a shot. That was blocked by Pearson. Now the Islanders. Pearson dumped it ahead. Merrick played it off the right side and Sutter's shot rifled off the boards. And the Canucks, 3 of them come to center ice. Coming in, Molin. Molin took a drive. That was blocked in front of Potvin. Sent it out to center ice. 7:15 remaining in regulation time. The score tied at 4. Allward coming out. Up to center is Nill. Stopped by Potvin. On the boards, Potvin. Couldn't knock it loose. And Morrow has to go back. That's Williams chasing him. Williams bumping over there on the boards. Right in front of the net, they score! Jim Nill got loose, and he appeared, Mickey, to lose control of it, but nobody cares. It crossed the line, and it's 5-4 Vancouver.
And you have got to give Tiger Williams credit on this. He chased Morrow in back, around behind the net, made the play.
What a move he put on Potvin here. Look at that thing, like a curling rock. Just barely got over that line, but nevertheless, 5-4 Vancouver. And talk about guys that score big goals. The big goal by Nill the other night in Chicago. The overtime goal before that, and here to put them up front with 6:54 to go.
I'm going to take that back. He didn't lose control of that. He made an excellent move on Billy Smith and went for that 5-hole and put it through. It appeared first, but thank goodness for the replays. You could see he made a great move. Jim Nill, 5-4. Vancouver at 13:06. Here they are again. And Smith picks one out. That's Fraser with it. Another drive. Smith had to grab that one and drop it for Potvin. Now 6:20 left in regulation time, and the Canucks are up by 1 on these defending Stanley Cup champion New York Islanders. Into the corner goes Billy Kärrell with Sutter, and here comes Gilles bumping with his man. They hold it on the boards. It comes loose. Kärrell all alone. And Brodeur standing his ground again. They cannot believe what's happening in front of Richard Brodeur, but they can't jam it by him. He can frustrate you, and that is exactly what is happening. Outstanding goaltending. Very steady, standing up always. Live from the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale. The go-ahead goal by Nill, his fourth from Williams and Minor at 13:06. 5:45 remaining in regulation time. The Canucks leading by 1. Ford dropped it back. Janssen got away from a check. He's going in against Molin. Into the corner, Bourne is stopped, but there's Bossi centering it. Miner got back to cover up. Bossi upended. Coming out, the Canucks. Molin to center, took a shot. Smith blocked that. There's Miner after it. He left it for Williams. Great move by Williams. He comes in front and then can't get loose for his shot. The Islanders, Bob Bourne, trying to move it out. Gets it ahead to Janssen. He's coming in with Trottье and Bossi. He lost it just in over the line, and the Canucks break away. Coming back in Molin with Williams. Canucks change quickly now with 5 minutes remaining in regulation time. Trottьe's pass down to Bossi. Coming right in. Out of the net. It's loose. Scramble. They score. Brodeur out of the net. He thought he had the puck beneath him. He did not see it. And the Islanders swarmed in for the tying goal.
Brodeur thought he had the puck frozen, Mickey. He came out of the net and got away from him right here.
His own man, Harold Steps, ran into him, Dick. Unfortunately for Vancouver at the last minute, there's Bossi. Tonelli with a little kick of it to Bossi, and he had to get it, and that would not be allowed. But look at, you see Steps runs over top of him, and look at the loose puck. Boldarev checks, can't clear it, and a little kick right there by Tonelli, and there's Bossi all alone. 4:46 to go, 5-5 hockey game.
Boldarev swung at the puck and missed. That was another tough break for the Canucks. Mike Bossi, his second of the night, 12th of the playoffs. 4:46 left in regulation time. It's tied 5-5.
15-14, the time of the goal. It's tied now at 5. And the Islanders are at it again. Forcing the play inside the Vancouver line. They tie it up on the boards. The scoring play, Bossi, that was his 12th. Tonelli and Trottье assisting. 15-14.
Yeah, everything was going Vancouver's way. It's the first bad break that they've really had, and the Islanders capitalize on it. We're in for quite a 4-minute and 30-second period of time here now.
Merrick, Nystrom, and Tonelli. That's the buzzsaw line, led by Nystrom's hustle. And the Canucks clear it down the ice. Coming back is Potvin. Icing is called against Vancouver. Tonelli now having a few words with Nil. Nystrom comes in to try to keep Tonelli out of trouble. And Harold Steps is also there.
You know, Mickey, the Islanders were on a downer after that goal by Nil. It was a great three-way play. Williams was the disturber, Miner made the good pass, and Nil made the super play at the net. But that goal has obviously given them a life. But did you notice that leading up to that goal by Nil, Vancouver was starting to get a 3-on-2 break. And they had about 3 of them leading up to that goal.
Well, I think, Dick, that's another example of the frustration shown by the Islanders. They're doing their best. They're trying their hardest out there to make it happen offensively, but Vancouver's just all over them. Every time they take a step, there's a Vancouver player there taking a piece of them, and it just frustrates them to no end. They start taking little bits of chances, and the next thing you know, there's Wally Harris. A long night for everybody here tonight. Nice to running into him.
That's Campbell for Vancouver, getting rid of it. Potvin kept it in, however, with Gillings. Now it comes to center ice. Fraser missed a chance to pick it up. Here's Goring turning. He's cutting in with Keller. Breaking for the net with Goring. And Brodeur had to be careful and deflected. Now right back in front, and Brodeur grabbed it. And this time the little goaltender hangs on to it.
Yeah, that time Clark Gillies decided just to fire it in the general direction of the net from the sharp angle. Brodeur made the grab. You never know if it might deflect in. The big guy let it go almost in the corner of the rink.
Dick, just to finish that thought off about the Islanders starting to open up and take a few chances, as a result of them getting caught, you're going to end up with those 2-on-1s and 3-on-2s, and here come the Islanders on the attack again. There's that deflection you spoke of, Dick, off a Goring skate, and a very close chance again for the Canucks. 3:56 to go in regulation time.
And the score is tied again. 5-all now. That's Fraser over there for Vancouver. Smeal is catching up Fraser's long shot. Ends up behind the net. Potvin, the first one back for Gillies. Gillies dropped it there. The Canucks. Fraser to the far side against Keller. Callard forced for the corner. The Canucks have it. It's centered quickly. Another shot. Billy Smith came diving out of the net, and the Islanders cleared to Goring. Goring coming in with Callard and Gilles. Gilles shot. Rebound. And Fraser is there for Vancouver, hovering up on the boards. Gilles in against him, and they get a whistle with 3:18 remaining in regulation time. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York. So out he comes. Gradin in to take the face-off against Merrick. Merrick hooked it back right off the draw. There's a low shot, but Pearson was wide. Langevin fired one off the net. Gradin stopping Tonelli, but Tonelli kicked it behind the goal. Lindgren trying to clear it. 35 seconds left in regulation time. Nystrom centering it. He fell. Lindgren fell. Nystrom got back up again, and the Canucks nil, shooting it down the ice. It'll go over that red line, and with 23 seconds remaining in regulation time, the Canucks guilty of icing the puck. It comes back this time to the right of Bluger, where they'll drop it in.
Now, Richard really takes a skate, Mickey, all the way to the corner boards and back.
You know, I don't think Nil meant to ice that puck. No. He just wanted to get out of harm's way out over that blue line, and it just rolled all the way down very slowly, but enough for that icing. You know, the Islanders scored that goal in the end of the first period with 9 seconds left, and they won that direct draw. We just saw a direct win in the face-off again back to the point, and they are beating the Canucks in these draws with 23 seconds left. This is as big as them all.
And here come the big guns. That's Trottье, Bossi, and Bourne with Potvin and Pearson parked inside the line. Jerry Minor into the face-off circle against Trottьe. And no doubt he'll try to hook it back into the corner. Nil, Sneps, they're all poised. Lindgren and Williams. The Canucks in control on this draw, but wait a minute. Now it's called again as Bourne held it along with Nil, and we have 18 seconds remaining in regulation time. I think, Dick, it was you who said, I think we're in for a long night. We're looking at overtime now, folks. It's Mother's Day back home in Newfoundland. Here's a check for Trottьe. Missed it on the short side. 12 seconds left. Bossi slow getting up back there. Here's a chance for Minor. 6 seconds left. Minor stops. 3 seconds left. It's centered. But now the horn goes. Billy Smith was knocked down by Williams, and he gets back up in a fighting mood.
Was he ever knocked down, Bob? Right as the buzzer went, Williams really cranked into Billy Smith and sent him flying. I mean, Smith came up arguing with Wally Harris about it. Now he's pointing a finger at Tiger Williams, and boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Not a penalty called in that period after all the penalties in the second. Now there you see it, just to the left of your screen, it was Smith hitting the deck. As the green light is on, you can see the period had ended. Then we get the little hassle, the confrontation, the talking, and that is it. So they leave, and we are going into overtime.
I'll tell you, I don't know if I've ever seen one hockey game where the goaltenders, Dick, have taken such a beating at both ends of the rink. Boy, oh boy. You don't expect that kind of action when they put those pads on to come into a hockey game. Harvard, you can see, openly upset with Wally Harris about not calling a penalty.
Okay, it's tied at 5. Overtime coming up. This is Stanley Cup 82 from the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale. For the record, in the third period, nil for Vancouver. And the Canucks looked for the moment as if they might win it 5-4, but then Bossi got his 12th at 15-14. And that's the story now at scoring. 5-all. The shots over 3 periods. The Islanders out shooting Vancouver 30-29. But, folks, this is sudden death overtime. It's anybody's game now. Potvin played it up, and Tonelli had it go off his stick over the boards at the New York Islanders bench.
Dick, we've said it before about overtimes being decided very quickly once they start within the first 5 minutes. I guess a lot of people feel that's why they'd like to see it in the regular season, but it really doesn't take that long to get an outcome to these games, the overtime games. Good 75-80% of them, as the record tells. They had it in the WHA a few years ago in regulation time. or in overtime in the regulation season. And within 5 minutes, a lot of them were finished.
This is Morrow coming up to center ice. The Islanders get the puck in over the line for the first time in overtime. Brodeur having some difficulty. Over on the far side, Smeal gets into the line. Arrow Snaps was right there on the spot to clear it. Morrow hopping back. There'll be no icing this time. Gradin in against him. Now Bossi for Trottье. He starts to the line with Bossi again. Over it goes. The puck back. Winding up. A high whistling shot off the glass. Keller going in after it. He couldn't pick it up. Morrow from center, dumping a high one in. Going back is Lindgren. On the boards by Keller down the ice. It'll go right on Billy Smith. He scooped it up. Morrow now. They played 1 minute of substantive overtime. Game 1 of the 82 Stanley Cup Final. Here's the pass to Bossi. Bossi closing in, winding up. Makes the shot. Bossi gets it back. Longevin let it go. Nowhere near the net. 3 Canucks come out of the zone now. Up as far as Pearson. He stopped it. And then Tonelli grabbed it at his own line back to center. Here's Tonelli on his speed. And he was stopped hitting the line. Bolderev gets it over there. Trailing the play is Bolderev. Spun around is Jim Neal. And Pearson back to the goal. There's Neal again in the corner. Rhoda centering it. And hit a skate. There's Bolderev centering it. It comes right in front of Rhoda. They bang away at it. And Nystrom gets away for New York. Coming out with Tonelli. Nystrom trailing. Nystrom breaking for the net. Tonelli centered in the Canucks covering up well. Clearing it again was Rhoda. 2 minutes gone in overtime. Bolderev went after Pearson. Now Bolderev left it at center for Campbell, and he shoots it in for Vancouver. The Canucks taking it to the Islanders in the early going of this overtime. Nystrom comes to center. Long shot in wide. Brodeur stopped it. Cleared it for Snaps. This could be a break. Fraser failed to hang on to it. They nearly have the Islanders trapped on a player change. And icing is called now against Vancouver.
Well, the goaltenders, Mick, I know you were a sniper in your day, but I don't know, I always kind of get a funny feeling about those fellas when they're in there in overtime. And you always hope that it is, as the saying goes, a good goal.
Well, that's for sure. Both clubs playing good hockey here tonight, and it's tough to be a goaltender in regulation time, let alone in overtime.
Goring on the draw against Gradin. Got it in front. Goring still looks for it. So does Gillie's. Morrow slapped it in off the boards, and Snaps was there. Taking it away from his goaltender, but couldn't clear it. Snaps goes back again against Goring. Snaps. Goring all over him. Puck bag coming up on the play. Now the Canucks get an opportunity to move it out of their own zone. They don't. Sutter kept it in. It's centered. Comes back to puck bag. Winding up. Took a shot deflected. Goring back in the net. It's in the crease. Cleared away. Snaps falling. Can't get rid of it. Gillie's now. Pressure on by the Islanders. Morrow's shot. That's deflected wide. And Smeal knocked into center ice. Puck bag. Pouring it back in for New York. Brodeur out of the net. 3:15 gone in overtime. The Canucks organizing. Coming out. To center. This is Smeal going in. Shot. Picked out by Billy Smith. The goaltender then stumbled and fell. Back to center, Keller. Coming in on this right side. Trottье jamming on the brakes. Got it in front. Keller's shot is blocked. That's Gradin. Hooked it ahead. Molin couldn't pick it up for Vancouver. Pearson. Longevin to center, shooting it in. Here comes Keller. Keller trying to hook it in front. Here's Bossi. Not in front of the net. And the play is called. A face-off coming up in the Vancouver's.
But he's finished up on Jerry Minor. What a season he had. He had a fractured skull in training camp, broken ankle later on. He only played 13 games and just returned in the Chicago series, so he's playing very well.
Bolderev right off the draw got a quick shot away, but it was wide of the net. Hotman lost it. It's centered in front of the goal, and Merrick was there to clear it down the ice. We have 4 minutes left in this first overtime period. As Tonelli is in, did get good wood on it. Vancouver Canucks and the Islanders in this first game of the Stanley Cup Final 82. Locked in a 5-all tie. And boy, some ill feeling between these two teams.
Put up some penalties here, Bob. I think Wally Harris is going to give, sounds like, or looks like from here, one to each team. Nystrom arguing heavily with Harris at this point, but, well, I'll tell you, when Tonelli went down in that corner, he laid a two-hander on Dougie Hallward, and the ensuing pile-up from there, and some frustration again showing, I think, on John Tonelli's part. They're tied up with that free-skating style of his. They've taken pieces of him all night long, but it looks like Hallward and Nystrom going to go to the box.
Well, this comes at 16-11 here in the first overtime period. First penalties called by Wally Harris. It's 17-20 in the second period in regulation time.
See Tonelli there, a little bit frustrated, digging. Hallward comes up and gives him a little shot. Here comes Nystrom. And thank you, boys, says Wally Harris. You'll sit up and cool down for a couple of minutes.
I guess they were the more vigorous twosome.
Well, we all know, Dick, of course, in overtime, it takes a pretty flagrant type of an accident, not an accident, but a flagrant foul on any one individual's part for the referee to signal a penalty. It's so critical. A lot of people disagree with that type of philosophy, that it should be called like regulation time, but nevertheless it will take something pretty open for them to make that penalty call.
Billy Kэрrolll out there right now hasn't seen much action in the overtime, if any.
They drop it in. Kэрrolll, a long shot, just missed that far corner. His hot man let it go. Now the Canucks on the move. It's cleared in for Smeal by Gradin. Islanders come back out, led by Bourne. Kэрrolll gets in front of the net. There's Bourne with a chance. A shot in front of Kэрrolll. And Brodeur covered up beautifully on that short side. Smeal couldn't move it out. Kэрrolll again from the corner. Played it behind the net, and finally he was bumped off the puck. Snaps ahead to Gradin. Out to center ice. The Canucks on the move. Gradin tried to go through, but Postman stopped him. Now Smeal from an angle. Shot. Glove save. Billy Smith. That was a rifle shot. And Billy Smith got that left hand up.
Boy, that's the thing to do. You got nothing to do with it. You might as well let it go at the net. And Smeal, an excellent scoring chance. Smith with that very quick glove hand really picked it up. Interesting, Dick. You noted that Kэрrolll is out there for, I think, the first time, and but to see it, both coaches use individuals. Delorme, Crawford for Vancouver have not played a whole lot tonight. Kallur, Kэрrolll, and Sutter, of course, that fourth line, they like to call it, for the Islanders have not seen a lot of ice time, and I'm sure as more time goes on in these overtime or overtimes, we're going to see more of those guys on the ice.
3:03 left of this first overtime period. And it's Goring coming out for New York. In with Trottье. Trottьe left it at the line. Pearson lost control of it. It went back into the center ice area. Trottьe again, a long shot. Didn't get too far. It was deflected. And it just rolled into Brodeur. 2:40 left. In this overtime, Goring nearly broke through. Fell as he tried to wheel in. There's Goring again. This time a shot. And the shot is away wide. Miner went after it. Longman beat him to it. Eldebrink into the corner for Vancouver. He was bumped. Pearson couldn't keep it in. 2:20 left in this first overtime. And coming back is Eldebrink for Vancouver. It's back to the net. End of the third, tied at 5. We're in first overtime period with only 2 minutes remaining now. They've been unable to do it, these two teams, so far anyway. There's Trottьe's shot. That's stopped by Brodeur. And the Canucks get rid of it. Hooking it up on the glass to center ice. 1:45 left in this overtime. Hallward coming in. The penalties are over. He played it in on the boards, and the Canucks are making wholesale changes now. With the Islanders, Bossi coming out. 1:35 left in the overtime as he cleared it in. Brodeur back to the net, stopping it. Williams and the Canucks missed the pass. 1:25 left in this first overtime. It's stolen by Nill. Nill for Vancouver shoots it in. And Billy Smith played it behind the net for Morrow with 1:15 left. in this first overtime. This is Merrick coming out. A long lead pass to Tonelli. Coming in. Tonelli waiting on goal. And Brodeur came sliding out to rob the New York Islanders. John Tonelli with 1:06 left.
Boy, that tells you something about John Tonelli and about Richard Brodeur. Great play by Tonelli, and Brodeur hung tough with a stop, super stop for Vancouver.
Well, some great speed by Tonelli again coming down that outside. Neil Bellin doing a good job, though, of getting a piece of him. And just enough to throw him off stride and let Brodeur go down and make the save. You wonder where they get that kind of energy after playing almost 4 periods of hockey. And a very appreciative hand by the fans here at the Island for both Tonelli and Richard Brodeur.
They saw for the right of Brodeur. It comes back to the line, and the Canucks get it going again. This is Williams. Straight down the left side. Rolled a pass in front. Nobody could get near it with 55 seconds remaining in this first overtime. Over the boards again at the Vancouver bench. And there will be a face-off in the New York zone.
It's been quite a hockey game, hasn't it? Over 4 hours worth of it now. It's been 4 hours since Thomas Gradin opened the scoring back at 1:29 in the first period. We're now at 19:08 in the first overtime period. Wayne Merrick a bit frustrated. We use that word again, Mick, as he flipped that puck off his stick and up into the Vancouver players bench area.
Well, I know, Dick, I've used the word about 4 or 5 times tonight, but I just don't know of any other way to characterize what's happened here, because that is exactly what Vancouver has done to the Islanders, and it's worked to perfection here all night long.
Hot bam for Morrow. New York trying to get organized. It slides down the ice. Brodeur has to play it. And the Canucks just get rid of it, shooting it down the other way. This time it'll be icing though. Potvin comes back. And 34 seconds remaining in the first overtime period, and a big face-off coming up in the Vancouver zone to the left of Brodeur.
Nail-biting time on the Islanders bench.
Well, here comes Bossi and Trottье off the Islander bench, and here comes Jerry Miner and Tiger Williams off the Vancouver bench.
Jerry Miner will take the face-off against Trottье. 34 seconds left in this first overtime. And the Canucks, Campbell takes it in behind the net in the corner now. Rolled it on the glass to the center ice area. And Potvin comes back. 20 seconds left in this first overtime. Gillese gets a break to center. Bossi is catching up on the play. But it's played back outside the line, and then Gillese was slow getting out. And the Islanders are offside with 13 seconds remaining in this first overtime period. I'm Bob Cole along with Mickey Redmond and Dick Irvin at the Nassau Coliseum in New York. Game 1, the Stanley Cup final. The Vancouver Canucks coming into this series underdogs, but within a whisker of pulling out a victory here at the Islanders' home. 12 seconds left in the first overtime. And Snaps goes back to the net. Snaps will get rid of it again. Bossi scores! 2 seconds left on the clock. Kэрroll Snaps tried to get rid of the puck. And who was there? Mr. Mike Bossi.
You saw the time, and we have the disappointed Vancouver Canucks. Richard Brodeur. Ooh. He didn't like the camera pointing at him.
Well, with the way of the hockey game, Dick. Bossi again. That's the second one tonight, and he's wrapped out the goalpost. Very unfortunate. Harold Snaps went back to make the play. He thought he had it covered. trying to dump it out, and puck just did not get up off his stick. And it went right onto the stick of Bossi, who moved into the slot area. You see, Sneps got checked right at the moment as he tried to shoot it. And Bossi with that high hard one on the short side. We get another angle of it, Dick, and watch just as Sneps goes to make that play out over the blue line. He gets slashed. I don't know what Islander it was. Maybe we'll see here. Right there. It looks like Trottьe, I think. And there's Bossi, Johnny on the spot. Look at the shot. In off the post. What a hockey game. Unfortunate for Vancouver that they have to lose, but
here's a close-up on Roger. Bossi had great anticipation, and Mick, that's another thing that made the play. Who else would you want, as we said before tonight on one occasion when he didn't score? But Mike Bossi, his third of the night, and the Islanders take the lead 1-0.
On the strength of that 6-5 victory. This